As South Florida had 2 runners on, and you're thinking, hey, maybe the Bulls will come out and build a little cushion like what we saw in the Oklahoma game. Ended up scoring in the 5th frame. Top 25 in the country in runs. Adding to that last night. However, it goes right back to Sliger. She ends up scooping it over the first, but back-to-back errors to start for Wichita State. So Alex Wilkes, next one up, lays down the bunt. That's placed perfectly. And the result is a successful sacrifice bunt. And anything that's going to be up in the air is going to get some assistance, but I don't think Wynn needed that one. Josie Foreman with her 7th home run on the season. The senior comes through. So a 3-0 start for the Bulls. A couple of errors aiding South Florida here in the first. South Florida looking to jump on her immediately as Rivera ends up walking over the first. Now 19 walks for her, matching the number on her jersey. Tonight's different start here today for South Florida. This is the Bulls team that I think a lot of people expected. A Bulls team that leads the American Athletic Conference in a whopping 15 different categories. There's a snapshot of Chloe Barber, who's getting loose at the moment for Wichita State. 2-1, sharply hit ball, but it ends up being ruled as a foul ball. Compton at least got a glove, and had it stayed fair, she would have been able to go over the first and at least touch the bag there, which would have been the second out of the inning. But instead, another shot here for Dania Brooks. Nelson yesterday ended up being 0 for 2 with the strikeout. Sam Walls came in and ended up getting a hit in the 6th inning to kick things off for the Bulls. And it was Waltz the rest of the way, but here is Jamia Nelson. South Florida, though, with 4 runs in the top of the first, courtesy of a 3-run bomb. A little bit, but Sarja maybe just as quality as Dixon. Backing her up, it's this look. Some 2-2, and she swings right through it. Sarja off to a great start, getting a swinging strikeout on the very first batter. High heat. And Sarja just blew it right by Ellie Eck. She did snap a 5-game hitting streak in the game against Oklahoma, but against UTSA, the last conference series, all 3 games, multiple hits. Not the case yesterday with just 1 hit. Ends up missing, and Brooklyn Levonick, the freshman, ends up getting on first via the walk. Nice piece of hitting there for Levonick. I guess in some ways, nice piece of watching in some ways. But those are the at-bats you're starting to see more of from Brooklyn Levonick. But the threat of danger is still very much there for Sarja in the form of Cameron Compton.
Potential on and off the field, because when Wichita wins.
Well, one ends up going downstairs. Elliott now has scored 39 times on the season, in case you're wondering what it was like. They got her out there at second. Tough play there for Nelson. Got it in there just in time.
Not bad for the Bulls.
And you had to hold your breath for a moment because, well, that's actually kind of how it looked on the very first plate appearance for Gallegani. She went down to third. Nelson then tried to. It's complimentary softball that they've been able to play at the plate. Not solely reliant on the long ball, but definitely can make it challenging. Foreman with her second hit, rounding third. The throw, Scott cannot apply the tag, and Joseph. Slagers 1-2. South Florida had 4 runs in the first in game 2 last year. Here they are with 4 in the first year today. End up getting a 5-0 victory. When it was all said and done, Sarja with a masterful performance in the circle. Complete game. Surrender just 1 hit, strikeout 2 and walked 1. All really move. Sarja with 2 Ks. Scott ends up popping up, and it ends up being hauled in by Rivera. And there are 2 down at the bottom of the second. Had a great freshman stadium. Ended up being a solid result for her. But the last conference start that she had here on this field held North Texas to just 7 hits and 2 runs, none of them earned, and a complete game performance. Nelson in the hot corner gets it at second for Sliger in that bobble, just that little bobble there, that sliver. Open up the door for Sam Waltz to leg that one out. So Sam Waltz is able to log her 5th hit of the year. Now there are 2 on for the Bull. Find a way to get the top 2 batters out for South Florida. It has been a struggle so far in the series. Safely the next 3. Eck turns on one. To right field it goes, and that one's out of here. Ellie Eck with a solo shot to get Wichita State on the board. The Andell native with her 3rd home run of the season. First, and went opposite field with it. And now with Wichita State getting a run on the board. Let's see what that does. But Bella Sarja could just be one mistake that she has had. Really the only mistake that she's had so far at this point. (3-2) to Lauren King. Garcia Soto. And Brooklyn Levonick gets over there the first safely. One down. Unassisted there for Compton. Thought maybe for a moment that you would see the wheels from Gallegani. Maybe she would find a way to dance around, but hard to do that. Alex Wilkes next up for South Florida. Look at what she was able to do. 3-run shot in the first, RBI single in the second. It's been a great day for her. You would think that may be the 4 runs batted in. We man to face Oklahoma. But 3 in the third. Oklahoma, one of the top offenses out there in the country. But it was a rough day for pretty much every pitcher in the game. Here's Rivera. A diving grab, though. It's Sammy Hood who makes it look smooth. Sammy Hood. Although that one less than stellar. All she could do is just smile as she looks over to her coach, Ken Erickson, in the dugout. Against FAU, ended up getting some playing time then, but she was 0 for 6 in the series. Hasn't been able to log a hit since March 1st against South Dakota State. Although she started off her freshman campaign really strongly, she had up, and Barber blows that one by Ortiz Martinez. South Florida had 4 hits yesterday. They only have 3 hits here today. But it just goes to show you it's the timeliness of the hits that make the difference in capitalizing when miscues do happen in the form of pitches, all of them outside the zone, and Chloe Barber in danger of her her second walk. It would be the second 4-pitch walk for Chloe Barber. That's how Alex Wilkes got on back in the 4th when Chloe Barber came in to replace Ava Sliger. And it is all throughout the year. In fact, you look at her first season in 2023. She ended up adding 265 at 22 hits then. Last year it was 252 with 26 hits, but this year Elliott doesn't get too many opportunities for RBI, but Gallegani has been able to capitalize a few times at 21. This one hops foul. They're going to have to figure it out sometime, and now's the opportunity to do it. Josie Foreman with the bases loaded. Very dangerous spot here for Chloe Barber. Foreman, 3-run homer in the first. RBI single in the second. Grounded out to Chloe Barber. They've already squared off with Oklahoma State. The Cowgirls won that one 11-2 in 5. That was on February 27th, and that was to kick off the home slate of games for Wichita State at Wilkins. Ended up being a Shocker Invitational. Oklahoma State, Missouri, Nebraska. Nelson with a screamer to the left off the glove of Brooks. And it dribbles into the outfield. Back-to-back hits for the Shockers. That one gave up 2 in the 5th for sure, but continues to try to deal for Wichita State. Camille Ortiz Martinez. The bottom half of the lineup for South Florida just got to get some other things worked out. Meanwhile, for Beckerly, good amount of the pitchers really liked working with her, just the way that she handles her business as a freshman. And definitely started off really, really hot at the dish, but cooled off. That's when you saw the switch to Gabby Scott, and it's been that way ever since, but they ruled it as an error. And then the sacrifice back in the 5th. Waltz, does she go around? They will appeal. And now Waltz. Too far downstairs, it's 3-2. Meanwhile, for Wichita State, it was Ava Sliger that started. Lasted 3 innings. 5 hits given up. I should say 5 runs given up. 3 hits surrendered. 2 walks. Scott. Tough play by Brooks. Hood thought maybe she was going to sneak something by South Florida. But Brooks with enough speed and then has enough arm strength to get it to Garcia Soto. So while Scott reaches third, Sammy Hood ends up going down. She ends up heading over to first base. Garcia Soto stays at second. Rivera stays at short. You have Gallegani for the pitching change. Back with more here in Wichita. Sliker unable to find the zone thus far. Brooks goes after the first one, ends up going over the glove of Compton for a fair ball. Brooks ends up halting at first. The mercy, she does it again here for South Florida. 5 times at the plate now, 5 times getting on. Looking for home run number 3 to cut it to 1, but look at Gallegani able to make the snag at the wall, and you see her teammates greet her, and rightfully so. That was a marvel.